So das Pärchen Tezwa, Pärchen Zachor, Gimel Oder, ה'תשכ להבין, Inyan, Choshen, ואפוד. Choshen is the breastplate of the king of the wall, and Ephod is the sky blue apron that was open in the front, and actually, essentially, it's a garment that he wore behind him, opposite of the standard apron, as Rashi explains. So to understand the Inyan of the Choshen and the Ephod, Shagab Ephod Ksiv and Nosar and the Shmoysa Lifnei Hashem Ashtei Ksef al Zikore. So both of them bear testimony to the Shvatim that by the Ephod, so he wears the names. The names are engraved on two stones on the shoulders of the Ephod. V'chein L'gabe Yachoshen Ksiv, and also the same purpose is expressed with respect to the Choshen, as the pasuk says, "V'nosa Aaron as Shemeis b'nei Yisrael, Shemeis b'nei Yisrael ala libay." He should wear the names of the Eden on his heart, Zikor and Lifnei Hashem. So both are Zikor and Lifnei Hashem as a remembrance, as mentioned before God. K'fi shmedai, Chagad Mora Tzemach Tzedek, as the Tzemach Tzedek asks, Shashoni Ishna Sambeil Yistalkas Ilul. This year, Tafshin Chavav was 100 years to his Tzemach Tzedek's Yistalkos. Shetzadich Lovin Tam Achilog Ben Eifed Lecheshna. To understand the difference, the reason for the distinction, the difference between Eifed and the Choshen. Shebe'Eifed are Yishem Misyud Beshvatim Rakal Shtei Avonim. By the Eifed, so the names of the 12 tribes were divided just on the two stones. Kamisha Kosav, as the pasuk says, Shisha Mishmoisem Ale Even Achas. 6 names on one stone. Verse Shmois Hashisha Nisorim Al Even Hashenis, and the remaining 6 names on the second stone. So there are only 2. Whereas in the Choshen, so the names of the 12 Shvatim appear each one on a separate stone. That's one distinction. Why is that? Furthermore, if you understand, v'gam b'Choshen ho'yelachol shevet min even acher. By the Choshen, each tribe gets its own stone. The Reuven oidem, so Reuven has the oidem stone. V'cholo leYosef shoyam. Yosef is the shoyam stone. U'Binyamin yashvei, and Binyamin has the yashvei stone. U'be'ephod, whereas the ephod shtei avonim min echad. The ephod, the 2 stones, were of one kind. Shtei avonim shoyam, as the Torah says, they're both shoyam stones. You have to understand that difference as well. And finally, v'gam tzarich lavin ma'akefal inyan d'nesiyesh b'chlal. Why is this repeated? The Nesiyesh Shmois b'nei Yisrael al-yedei Aaron Zikorin, that Aaron should remember, the 12 should, not Aaron should remember, that the tribe should be for a remembrance, for a mention. By Aaron should in two places, Hein al Ksefai, on his shoulders, be'ephod, in the ephod, Vein al Libay, and over his heart, be'Choshen, and the Choshen. Implicit in all of this is the question, what does it mean to be remembered altogether? God doesn't forget. So what does it mean, the Zikorin, as a remembrance? That too will be answered. So repeat the questions, folks. Number 1.
On the ephod, the ephod, all names were on 2 stones, and on the Choshen, each one had its own stone.
Yeah.
There are different meaning of the stones, different types of stones on the Choshen, and both are shoyam on the ephod. Why? The flow, why do you need the...
So the ephod, he also points out what stones they were on the ephod.
Right.
There was shoyam, which is actually Yosef's stone.
Before, why do you need the zikaron?
Huh?
And before, why do you need the zikaron twice?
Yeah. Why twice? Why twice? And then we're asking and adding. That's implicit. What's the whole of a zikaron? That'll be answered as a matter of course by answering these questions. And the nekuda is דין החילוק בין האפד לחושן, the difference between the Ephod and the Choshen is שהאפד שהיה ארן חגי מאחוריו. The ephod which was tied behind him, not tied, worn. It was actually tied in front, but it was worn behind him. So that represents the hinder level of Alikus. The Inyan of Acharaya, Chatzonius. And the Choshen, which is on his heart, B'chinas Ponim, that's Pnimius. That's Taka Baruchlius. So what's Vinyoni Ba'avoida? How does this translate in Avoida? She'ephod Meire al Avoida Sheb'chinas Ochai. So ephod is an avodah that is external, get hinder, back. We find this avodah in Torah. Pashas, you should go after or behind, literally, God. Follow him. So you're behind. So what does that mean? It's an external avodah because there's no internal change. It's just iskafia, which means a behavioral avodah, but not an avodah of the opinions of the heart of the mind. He's not transformed his heart from desiring in yonim of Elam Hazeh. He has not yet developed a desire and longing for godliness. So what is avodah? He compels himself to behave and do mekayim mitzvahs. It's avodah of the Beinani, right? The Choshen, which is on the heart, that's already in a transformation. Is transformed. The emotions of the drives of the nefesh habahamis to be, strong words, be on the same level, complete transformation on the level of the nefesh halikis of the godly soul. So that's already an internal connection to Hashem. His very drives and desires. So now, what's the union of Aaron carrying their names? So what's the union of Zikor? In other words, Vinyan is Siyas Aaron, Shmois Bnei Yisrael Vachoshen, and the carrying, literally the lifting. He wears them upon himself of the names of Bnei Yisrael on both the ephod and the Choshen is Hanasin Askoyach of Bnei Yisrael. So this is the empowerment al Bezi Fani Avodah and the two Avodas of Iskafe V'Yisapche. We need an empowerment from above in the Avodah of Iskafia, as the Alter Rebbe brings from the Gemara. If Hashem wouldn't help, then the Yitzhara wouldn't come to our assistance. The Yitzhara would get the upper hand. And we need our Sinas Koyach V'Yisapche to transform the Nefesh HaBahamis. And this is similar, yet in brackets, similar but different, as they'll explain, I think. We find this also, that Aaron is empowering Eden in the lifting and the raising of the lights. Of course, the 7 branches represent the 7 personality types, the 7 midas. So what's there? What's the menorah? The menorah, which is light, flame. Shepulas halos haneiris b'negei nefesh halikis. So this is the neshama. Neshama is ner Hashem, the flame of God. So here, what he's doing is he's elevating the nefesh halikis, the neshama. But Apulas in the siyasa ephod v'choshen. Whereas, what's the effect of him wearing the ephod, the choshen b'negei lebir nefesh habahamis? That's an elevating the nefesh habahamis. And we see that's a lavush. The menorah is not a lavush, it's not a garment. The menorah is in the kodesh. And these are the clothes that the Kohen Gadol wears throughout the Beis HaMikdash. This is not in the avodah exclusive kedusha of neshama. This is the adrabah. This is the avodah of the nefesh habahamis. On the 2 levels of his sapchen iskafia. Continuing now, v'hainu shaloim yiboy. not only chidush that shakashe nimtzoyim ba'avodah shebchnes acharayim, when a yid is holding and he's struggling externally just with his behavior, b'chnes iskafia for sure. Yesh tzorich bepolis adam, we need this in his kech, as mentioned before. The Gemara says, it's are locked in battle, and if not for Hashem coming to the assistance of the Yitzhak, it would not be victorious. So you need Nesinas Koyach. K'misha Kosov, V'nosa Arin, Shmoyis Lafnei Hashem, Ashtek Seifol Zikor, and this is on his two shoulders, that's the struggle of Iskafia. So surely that's understood, and that needs an empowerment from above. He's already beyond that. He's holding by the avodah, the internal avodah, b'chines yishapche. There too. Here too, a yid needs the empowerment from above to effect yishapche. To elevate the midas. Lifnei Havaya, says the pasuk, before Hashem, but the more literal and therefore deeper meaning is L'may m'bchinas Shem Havaya, even higher than Shem Havaya, connecting to Hashem in a truly boundless, infinite way. So this needs in the Sinas Koyach. Now, footnote 14. Let's have a look at it. So here in the Pnim, he said the two separate avodas, and each one needs in the Sinas Koyach. Iskafia and Ishapche. But Bereshim Acheres in another
manuscript?
Yeah, that's that they wrote, that the Chassidim wrote.
Recording.
What? What?
He said
A different recording.
a recording.
It's a written record. They're not two separate things. The Rebbe said that one brings to the other. That the avodah of b'chinas eifod, which is iskafia boim l'avodah b'chinas choshen, that leads to the avodah of yisapche. And they even have detail. One wonders why this is a footnote. They didn't put this into the Maimah. Why did they decide which is the main one and which is secondary? Interesting. And that's why the Choshen, it was connected to, tied, both here and here, to the apron. So much so that the Torah says that the Choshen shouldn't be removed, should be attached to the ephod, which implicit is the connection between avodah of ishapche, iskafia, rather that must lead to ishapche. You just wonder, because this is an arichas, so why is it that, why they relegate this to Rishim Acheres? We'll have to ask them. Gimel. Okay, summary. What's a summary? Summary of this ice. In a few words, summary. The avodah of what? Of the ephod which is worn where? The back, behind. So that's the avodah of what? Of? Iskafia. The avodah of the choshen which is worn over,
on the heart.
yeah, over the heart. So that's pnimiyat, that's avodah v'sapche. So the chiddush here is that not only do you need the sinas, so what's he's wearing it, l'zikor and lifnei Hashem. What's the point? The point is he's mamshech and the sinas koyach, not only for the avodah of iskafia, but even hisapche. In brackets, what's the parallel and the distinction between this and in Aaron lighting the menorah of a halos Aaron is hanelos. Similar is what's in common. The common thing is that too is what Nesinas Koyach. The difference is that's the avodah of the neshama nefesh alikis, and this is the avodah the nefesh bahamis. We suggested, how do you see that? But Pashut, because the menorah, the flames, and that's the neshama. the shaila is the nefesh shalikis. It's not for now, but the aliyah of the nefesh shalikis only happens by engaging the nefesh habahamis. It's not separate and distinct. Akoponim, there's different levels to this, including this is the empowerment of the nefesh shalikis to then engage the nefesh habahamis. But lachayda, that's the whole avodah of the choshen and the efod. We have to see there for the pratim. This is classic ba'aloischa, the avodah of the menorah. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to guess. If I'm not mistaken, it's the consequence of avodah. It's the aliyah of the nefesh shalikis. As a result of all of this engagement. Why doesn't it happen organically? Why does it need to be an aliyah by Aaron? Okay, that's not the subject. I'm just pointing out that it needs to be explained. Gimel. This will answer why the choshen, each shevet has his own stone. They were different type and color. If you go even at golden and each color matched the color of their standards of their flags. Why? Why is the choshen individualistic and they're not grouped together in two groups? Answer. The whole avodah of the avodah of choshen is not a blanket pearl mamish ma'aseh b'pearl, but it's a very internalized avodah of yisapcha, showing in birur kol prote koiches nefesh habahamish and ne'afachim lo'ed. It's elevating and refining the individual drives and faculties of nefesh habahamish and transforming them into light. So it's very nuanced and individual. Each one is different in his color and description, because they are different personalities, they're different avodas. And what he puts on film, the same ma'aseh b'pearl is the same, but in the avodah of the heart and the mind, it's very different. Because here we're expressing the individual and the unique inner level and identity. According to his madrega and his identity, he's transforming that to light into goodness. This is the avodah that each tribe ascends in his own path. These are the 12 paths that were in the Kriyas Yamsuf, right? They didn't go in one; they all went in a different path. It's a different avodah, because the sea is avodah pnimius. That's alma discussia. In that world of alma discussia, it's not one size fits all. It's very individualistic, as opposed to pearl mamish, a dry land. That's why 12 stones can get yud beis shvatim, corresponding to the 12 tribes. Shehem yud beis gvulei alachsan. These are the 12 edges and borders. What that means is this: if you can visualize this, I could. If you take the 6 directions, imagine a cube, yeah? So each direction is an entire square. So imagine the cube. So you've got one, how many faces? One, top, bottom, maila, mata. These are the 6 ktsavas, the 6 directions of space, corresponding to the 6 middas. Malchus is not a middah. So you have a cube, top, bottom, and then 4 sides. So you just count the edges. It's 12 edges. That's where each of the middas meet each other. Pashut. So there's 4 at the top, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 at the bottom is 8, and then the 4 sides. So that's the Yud Beis Gvuli Alachsan. We're using the 6 directions of space and it creates 12 meeting points, 12 common borders. Clear? So that's the avoid of the Shvatim. So this explains that the Shvatim are 12. As we just pointed out now, that's the divisions of time and space. Up, down, and there's 4 directions. The Ovis are 7. Tzedel Matzilus, 3 and 4. Ovis, I mean the Ovis and the Mois. The Shvatim is Bria, and Bria and below. And the Ovis is Matzilus, a different Avodah. Bittel Mitzias, Bittel Ayesh. At any rate, so that's the Avodah of the Shvatim. Or Moishe Gam Machshav, just like today. We have this press today because Yesh Beis Yud Beis Shiyorim Ba'aliyas Tfilas Kol Shevet B'Shara Miyuchad Elov. There are 12 basic nuschois, and each tribe had their nusach. The Alter Rebbe, as you all know, it's written in the introduction to the Siddur in English. By Kriyas Yamsuf, there was also a 13th path. Either he didn't know his Shevet or forgave him. And this 13th path is Koilal all of them. So I've made a Nusach that is Koilal all the Yud Beis Shorim. Consistent with Anose HaKoil. Anose embraces every Yud. Whereas each Shevet is his own Shevet, its own individual path, with its own individual leader, Shiv Meskenim, heads of the tribes, etc. So now more detail, I want to understand the construct of the Choshen. There were 12 tribes, but they were divided into 4 camps. When they camped, B'chol Machne, and each camp had Gimel Shvatim, had 3 tribes. Kach Gamavne HaChoshen. So the Choshen is the same thing. Nechlak all the Dalit Turim. There's 4 going this way horizontally, and then the B'chol Tur Gimel Avonim, in each line is 3 stones. Yeah, it was 4. Which way was it 4? I think that way, going down 3 at the top and then 4 like this. Now, he doesn't tell us, it's not mimazbe, the avodah connection between the, what?
Check at the Chayenu, they have pictures.
It's a picture, yeah. Have a look. He doesn't explain to us the connection Baruchni is between why these cluster groups, but they have a certain common avodah that therefore they're together. I mean, in the Sfiris, you can figure it out, that they, in the Midas. Mashenkin be'ephod, so that's all the Choshen. Bottom line, very individualistic, at the same time, a certain group commonality. Yeah, no, you found it? Yeah. Huh? As we said, 3 and 4, yeah. Okay, back to the Maimon. Mashenkin be'ephod, b'chinas ocher. But the ephod is avodah of the hinder avodah, iskafia. Shemeid al avodah iskafia b'lvad, that's only behavioral and not internal, so it's not nuanced, and it's uniform. Leishayich shila kol shevet even miyuchat, it's not shaykh, each shevet should have his own stone. Shemeid al pratim adreges nefesh alikis. Shebois HaShevet, it reflects the different levels of Nefesh Alikis, meaning which midas dominate, and so on, of that particular Shevet. Shari Even, Shu HaNefesh HaBahamis, the stone, which represents the Nefesh HaBahamis. Has not been transformed yet at this level to be mamish like the nefesh alikis. Yesh kan rak nesinas koich la'aved diskafia. So what's in the sinas koich of iskafia? She eitzel kulon b'shava. That's common, equal to everybody. V'lachein, that answers why how you call Yud Beis Hashvatim al sug echad shalavonim. So we understand now why it's one type of stone, because it's one uniform avodah. We'll see the order in a second, but it doesn't answer what? What are you asking?
Why the Shoyam? Why the Shoyam?
Hey, why Shoyam? Another question. A more obvious question, I think. Why two stones? So there is a beautiful beard of the Rebbe. It's kedai to learn the two shittas of the Rambam and Rashi and as to how they engraved the 6 and 6. There's two ways to do it. Either by the order that they were physically born, or their groupings, Leah's children, the mother or the father, basically. Two shittas. And that explains the diak of Shisha and Isarim, the remaining 6. Why are there the remaining 6? 6 on one and the remainder on the other. Sounds like the secondary. So it could be there's the beard. But as I'm remembering, I don't know. So it needs to be understood. I mean, even in Pel Mabesh, there are distinctions. What would be the distinctions, even the Aveda Pel Mabesh? To degrees of Hiddur. The Benatam is not for everybody. Now, it made of everybody, but in theory, it's not. There's certain Avedas, even in Maisa B'Pel, it's not for everyone. So there is not great distinctions, but there is distinction. So that L'chayda is a difference why it's 6 and 6, because even there is not exactly the same Aveda. So, what?
Talking about
Yes, I'm saying you.
What type of heater do you have in Iskafia?
Sorry?
What type of heater do you have in Iskafia?
Even in Iskafia, it's that you mentioned it. So one person, he's not eating Pashut. He doesn't eat Iskafia. He's breaking himself in Achila for somebody else. It's not your Aveda yet. You eat what's on your plate, and that's it. Your Iskafia should be another Inyanim. Iskafia and Dibur, Chshove Zachen. Even so, level of Iskafia, there's levels of breaking oneself. So even there's distinction, but not as nuanced and not as clearly and individualistic is the point. When it comes to Avodah of the heart, that's purely individualistic. And Avodah Pel Mamesh, much less so. Now, Avnei Shoyam, we're going to answer the question of Avnei Shoyam, which you just asked. Vatam, Shavnei Yifid Hoy Avnei Shoyam Dafke. Why the Shoyam stone? The koyach that they should be able to be the shlita, ruling, umemshala, and governance. But even shall iskafia, that a person be the master and control of his behavior. He's got to draw in a very high place. And this is hinted in this. Oh, we have to do that. Okay. The Shoyam stone. Ki Shoyam Oisius Moishe. We'll look at footnote 21 in a second. Ha'ora. Shall Yodai Dafke Nimshachar Koyach Laveda Diskafia. The Gemara says that the Eibishter helps him. That's how it comes. The Eibishter helps through the Nasi, through Moshe Rabbeinu. The connection to Yosef, it's Yosef's stone, because he was the leader. Yosef was after Yaakov, he was the leader. Mashbir, the provider. Let's have a look. Okay, let's finish this. Oh, sorry, he says himself. Even the Yosef. It's Yosef stone. Because what's Yosef stone? Yosef, he's above the other ones, which is why Yaakov had this special connection to him. He was be'emes like the others. Yichudi lo, bitl b'metzius. Mashenkin Sharashvatim in Mebriya, they were Olam Abriya, which is why they could not understand him and they misjudged him because they judged him based on their Avodah, their level, and he was on a different level, and what he was doing was inappropriate for them, but appropriate for him. So he's the Inyan of what? Of Yechudi Elo Atzilas, that's why he's the leader. That to bow down to him, and from there, from Moishe, Shayam, comes Yosef, the Aveda, the Nisins Koyach V'Iskafia. Let's have a look. Go back now to our order 20. What do you say inside? So that's why all the 12 Shvatim were all on different kind of stone. See, my bottom Tavis Amaches, Kamei, just like Balos on Neides and elevating the flames, Dam Shocham B'Lamaila. So first there's the revelation from above. So how do you light the menorah? It's the oil. That's the Shem Alamoid, that's Tam Shocham B'Lamaila. V'alav is Kalus on Neides, but elevating the Neides, Ushivas on Neides, the different flames, that's already the distinction. Tamshach is one, Shem Alamoy, but the elevation is Beprotius. And he says there, the same model applies in elevating Nefesh Habamis. The Sayeya Ba'abirur, the empowerment from above, that's one Amshach. Va'allah, but then the individual Avodah, Yud Beis Madreges, is 12 different individual levels. So what is he saying? So therefore he said that all Yud Beis Shvatim were on one category of stuff. That's in the Sinas Koyach. The Sinas Koyach is uniform. And that, it seems he's saying, leads to, in the end, the Avodah of transformation. Iskafia, the 12 separate stones. But it all starts with the Sinas Koyach for Iskafia. L'chayra. Okay, it's already 5-2. We'll do our order 21 tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem. It'll also help us chazer a bit. A wonderful day, everybody. P'sadas Tovas.